Hey, Paul, just wondering, when's the next Gunpla video gonna come out? When are you gonna make another Gunpla video? Hey, you, where's the next Gunpla video? Hey, where's the Gunpla? Make another Gunpla. Where Gunpla? Gunpla video? Hey, where's the next Gunpla video? Where's the next Gunpla video? It's been a while since my last foray into the world of Gunpla after my last attempt ended in a little bit of a disaster. Despite that, I wasn't really put off by the real grade Zeta, and I actually bought 2 more Gundams after attempting to transform that rickety piece of crap. I knew that the Zeta was infamous for having a bunch of issues and being a hand grenade, and curiosity got the better of me. Still, I had fun with it, and as a reward, I wanted to try something that was universally seen as one of the best Gunplas. Also, I want a Zeta that I can actually display in the mobile suit form without having to attempt to even think about touching the RG again, lest it spontaneously collapse into itself, creating a black hole that consumes reality. You think that was an exaggeration, but if you own a real grade Zeta, you know that there is a non-0% chance of that actually happening, so please be careful. The Master Grade Zeta Gundam Ver.Ka, released in 2023, is basically everything the real grade Zeta wants to be and more. Ver.Ka is short for Version Katoki, which denotes Gunpla kits that were produced and directed by renowned mecha designer Katoki Hajime. Apologies if I completely butchered that name. This model was an absolute joy to build. It looks incredible and is so robust and stable that I could probably yeet it at a wall and it'd be absolutely fine. Unlike the real grade Zeta, where the skeleton was made up of these complex parts that were molded to be able to move in many ways, the Ver.Ka has less parts that move on their own, and instead you create those mechanisms from multiple parts. And being a larger model, those parts can be bigger and sturdier, leading to an overall stronger and stable model. There are less of these little detail parts keep falling off constantly, and the moving parts don't feel nearly as flimsy, and it looks a lot more detailed and it just looks so awesome. It's a great kit, and I could continue to waffle on about how cool and amazing the Zeta Ver.Ka is, but that wouldn't really be a particularly interesting video and would be a whole lot of just fawning over this Gundam with no real value other than telling you it's good. But by this point, you already know that if you didn't know that already. So instead, let's make this video more interesting. If there's anything I've learned from growing up on the internet, running this YouTube channel, and antagonizing Imperial Guard players, it's negativity is... What's the point in being friendly and happy when you can be a miserable dickhead who complains about anything and everything that's even remotely perceived as slightly suboptimal? If something isn't completely perfect in exactly what you specifically want, then it's literally the worst thing ever, and everything is ruined, and if you disagree, you're a idiot, and you should go for being a complete Sure, the Zeta Ver.Ka is great if you're a loser. However, I, as an intellectual... Let me try that again. However, I, as an intellectual, have some extremely minor nitpicks and a couple of very small inconveniences that I can completely blow out of proportion and use to instigate a ton of arguments, causing everyone to get increasingly angry with each other, turning inconsequential disagreements into full-blown apoplectic comment wars of personal insults and inappropriate relations with each other's mothers. So you, it's time to tell you why the Zeta Ver.Ka sucks and is the worst model that's ever been created, and why you are stupid and I am great. Bring it on in the comments if you dare, bitches. What's it down in the comments? Please like and subscribe. It really helps the channel, and you can sign up to be a member of YouTube or even a Patreon like all of these fine folks. So thank you very much for all of your support. If you'd like to join them, then please find links in the description or press the join button. And if you don't, then you're a bitch. Okay, so first off, let's discuss decals. Is this a joke? Mate, I don't even put transfers on my Warhammer models most of the time, and that's 1 transfer per model. These are smaller than Warhammer decals, and there are over 100 of them. Look at this! This would take me weeks to get them all done. I'd probably fuck it up anyway with my stupid spindly fingers, making the models look way worse than if I'd just left it alone. I know there are people out there who paint their Gunplas. What's wrong with you? It's not for me. Gundams look great to me without having to paint them. They're already the correct colors. I'd treat Gundams more like you would a Lego set or a jigsaw puzzle. Something to put together on a nice relaxing weekend when you just want to have a chill time and end up with an awesome thing you can show off to all of your friends. And you think the larger scale would mean that the parts are easy to deal with. The real grade Zeta has a lot of moving parts and mechanisms shoved and compressed to attempt to fit into a smaller form factor and to make something that can transform. Or rather, is supposed to transform. Master grades, being a larger scale, should avoid this. And yet some of these parts are so absurdly small. I mean, look at this! Not only is this the tiniest thing you've ever seen apart from your own dick. I can't say that. It's... oh dear, man. Not only is this the tiniest thing you've ever seen, it has a very specific orientation it needs to be in, and you somehow have to put this tiny, tiny piece into this minuscule gap in the correct way, otherwise it will ping off to who knows where and be lost forever. Yeah, and sure, it adds a nice little extra touch of detail to the head, which works really nicely with the silver, and actually it really isn't that difficult to slot in, and was absolutely fine, but it's still very small. That's kind of daft, and so clearly the whole model is defective. And the most egregious and infuriating part of this whole model, which made everything a complete nightmare and ruined the entirety of the Gunpla experience for me forever, the labeling of the sprues. Yes, that's right, it's just the labeling of... When it comes to making Gunpla, there are parts that need to be specific for each side, and there are some places where you have to do things twice. Arms and legs are a big part of this, so you have to have the same internals for both legs, so they're usually the same parts, and then you have specific parts for each side because they're mirrored. So you'd expect to see times where a sprue has the same parts twice, and it's split to make it easy to find. That makes sense. And there are some of these sprues which actually tells you to split, so there's an A1 and an A2, a B1 and B2, that kind of thing. So you'd think, okay, well, clearly A1 is for one half and A2 is for another. But no! A, B, and H are split, but the numbers don't reset between the splits, so there's no left, right, or anything. It's just a sequential number, just happens to be A1 and A2. Sprue C is the same size as A, B, and H, but it doesn't split, and still has numbers sequentially up, so it acts as if it doesn't need to be split. Sprue D does have the same piece twice, which are numbered the same, but that sprue doesn't split. Sprues E and G are like runner D, but they do split like A, B, and H. These are the ones that actually make sense. But then runner J is like A, B, and H, except it does have specific left-right splits across the split, but only for some of the pieces. And you might be thinking, okay, Paul, you're being ridiculous, first of all. But second of all, yeah, you might have to split between A1 and A2, but that's because they're used in different parts, right? Like you're using A1 for a bit, then A2. So it's just a way to make it so you're using different parts at different times. Except that's not true, because in the same step for some of these parts, you're using parts from A1 and A2. But the numbers don't reset between A1 and A2, so it's just a sprue A. What's the point? It makes the split completely useless. I mean, it doesn't affect the way it's built. It really didn't matter. It was absolutely fine to build. I just didn't split it and just used it as a sprue. I had no problem finding any of the parts. The numbers are still really nice. Being negative is really difficult. Look, let's be real, all right? The Zeta Ver.Ka, it's great. There's no real problems with it. The problems I've been ranting and raving about, it's all tongue-in-cheek, right? It was actually quite a lot of fun to rant and rave like that, but to be honest, like, that's just to point out some very kind of silly things that I'm not going to be doing with Gunpla. Like, yeah, I mean, the transfers, I'm not going to do the transfers. And yeah, there's a couple of little silly things with the runners, but they're still a damn sight better than Warhammer. But I'm at this point in my Gunpla journey where I've built 4 of these now, and I've had no issues with them, and it's kind of a struggle to find interesting things to talk about with them. I'm not big into the lore of Gundam, so I'm not really going to talk about that. You know, I'm a Gunpla noob who's really just having a good time with it, and is that really that exciting? Not really. I know people are really interested in me doing Gunpla videos. I've seen all your comments over the past. Yeah, but if you're a big Gunpla fan, just know, I think Gunpla is fantastic, and I'm definitely going to be continuing it. It's not going to be something I'm going to do all the time. Like I say, it's something I'm more going to treat as like, I want to build a really, really cool thing once in a while. And for those of you who aren't into Gunpla, take this series of Gunpla videos as a sign or as a message that you should try Gunpla. It is a lot of fun, and they do look really cool. You know, there's a couple of next steps I can do with Gunpla. A perfect grade would be fun, and I could get into painting them and actually putting the water transfers on. But I probably won't attempt that more complicated stuff until I've got a few more Gunplas under my belt. I definitely want to continue to make Gunpla content. I really, really enjoy Gunpla, and I think I want to share that with everyone out there, try and get people involved, because it is really fun, like I do with Warhammer. But rather than making videos that are just me going, hey, look, another one. Hooray! I want to try and come up with some more unique and interesting ideas to involve Gunpla in videos to make them a bit more exciting and have a fresh perspective on it. So join me next time as we put Age of Sigmar and Gunpla head-to-head by finding out how many skateboard models it takes to break Gunpla in half if they were fired from a slingshot.